Rev up your engines!
Well, my grandson and his friends seem to have gotten a little inebriated, rolled the ATV in a ditch, broke a bunch of pieces off. So I'm going to show you today how you can fix it yourself. Now, unlike a bunch of Chinese junk you can never get parts for, Polaris, hey, it's pretty good company. Luckily, it's not like Teslas that have giant molded parts that most of the vehicles one piece. Well, these things come in various plastic pieces, all bolted together. So this is the main part that's broken. Just like modern cars, this Polaris has a plastic bumper. I tried to epoxy it, but I mean, it was destroyed. So we're going to replace this whole thing. Lucky for us, they didn't break the turn signal assemblies, which are relatively expensive, the rear lights turn signal assembly, because it just bolts off. Bolts back onto the fender like this. Like Allen heads, but they're not. They're these stupid Torx. Now, I got a whole set, so I'm a mechanic, but you probably don't want to buy a whole expensive set like I have. So what you do is we'll figure out which one it is. In this case, it's a Torx 40 that fits right in there. There it goes. And I'm lazy, so I'm going to use my little air ratchet. I've been using this Ingersoll Rand for years. It's a pretty good device. The only headache is this is tight all the time. There, now it's coming off. So we'll stick it in one. That's it. Then with an 11mm deep socket, we'll take these little nuts off. There's one. There's two. And there's one down here too. They're all over the place. This one got bent a little, but at least it's coming off. And out comes the turn signal. At least it's supposed to come out. There you go. It's all bent, so we got to kind of wobble it to get it out. Push. There we go. It's out. Now we know that's the right rear, so first we'll put these back on. There's three of them. Of course, one of them fell somewhere. There it is. Put those back on. That holds them in place. Long threads. They don't come with a clip. You use the clips over, so I'm getting weak. I'll get a screwdriver. Except that because my son was worried, so he bought new clips. So we'll just put new clips in there. We won't have to deal with getting the old ones out. A lot easier. The less work, the better. There we go. No, he could have used the old cover, but it's kind of broken. He bought a new cover too, so voila. I'll line them up. 2 and 3. Now, unfortunately, some of these bolts are hidden under here, so we got to take this whole deck off here. Now it's going to take forever, so I'm getting my big air cut and an adapter so I can get them off a lot faster. It'll get the job done a lot quicker. There's one. Well, there's a lot more popping to get it off, but at least, look, gives us enough room to get to these nuts now. We can get them off. Now these are smaller, they're T27s. Get all of them off. You make them long enough. There's one. There's a ton more. This one's kind of hard to get to, so I stuck an extension on it. Then it's easier to get to it. The rest we should be able to do by fingers. Okay, that takes that off. There's 3 of them. There's one more. That's a stinker. And of course, it's the one that's kind of stuck. One of these bolts has been cross-threaded when they built. But where there's a will, there's a way. Pull on it. There we go. Get out of there, you little stinker. There it goes. Now it's wiggle and jiggle. That side's coming off. This side's broken off. So there's not much left there. Oh, there's still a couple of them down here. There we go. And off it goes. And we'll unplug the bulb. Then same as the other side. Got to take off these 11mm sockets there. Put them over here so we don't lose anything. And this guy doesn't have a cover, it just bolts straight onto the bumper. Weird, one side's the cover and one doesn't, that's bizarre. But who cares? Off it goes. Might as well clean this off. We use the animal watering station here. Hey look, it's getting it pretty clean. The animals don't mind a little dirt. Of course that's the other side, so it goes in this way. It only goes in one way if you're foolish and don't remember. Just bolt it on. Now it won't bolt on unless you put these clips on. That's what holds it in. So I got a little screwdriver. Pry them onto the end. It's always fun getting them out without breaking them. They're really made for one way. Then when you get them off, they're a pain in the butt. Typical cheap design flaw. Make them as cheap as you can. Then they're hellacious to get off. Finally, there's one. We'll put it on the other one. They come off, and of course, do they want to go back on? Of course they don't. We try a little hammer. And of course, they don't want to go on straight either. There's one. Now we got 3 more to go. At least that one pried off easier. Almost. There. Well, we learned a hammering technique works, so we'll hammer it on again. Now you can slide it over. There's 2. And the other 2 broke off on the pieces. So once we got all the clips on, so we don't forget, we'll plug the lights in. There's one. There's the other. At least they didn't break that part of it. They're snapped in. And this then slides under here. And we'll put the first 2 big bolts in to hold it in place. They're stinkers. Here the lid, here the lid. What a pain in the butt. Line those stupid holes up. Not any fun, I'll tell you that. Alright, they finally lined up. Now we can put the top bolts in. We'll do the easy one first, the one that's in the middle, since it's the easiest. Voila, it's going in, look at that. And there we go, success. There, there's a little crack here. Oh, we're not changing the whole top deck off. We got this. Because after all, we got the straps here to strap it down with. And a little top here anyway. So basically we got lucky, broke this. Now, it did bend some of the metal, but we were able to bend it enough so that it bolted on and it's nice and strong. Realize you flip one of these things upside down in a ditch. We're lucky it didn't do more damage than it did, but what's the moral of the story? Keep young adults away from ATVs at night. As far as I'm concerned, hey, this thing's pretty solid built. This Polaris Sportsman 450 on-demand all-wheel drive. Hey, this thing's held up pretty well. Consider the horrendous treatment that it's received. Sometimes it gets pulled out with winches. Got a nice winch on it. The CD boots are still good. Everything still works. Various scrapes. That's how that whole thing got bent in on this side. Obviously it rolled that way. It's easier to get in. You can see it's not bent. It's not scraped. And the only thing we've done so far is changed the oil a couple of times in the filter. I made a video on that. Changed the transmission fluid. Very simple stuff to do. Just make sure you buy the fluid from Polaris. It's a very specialized fluid, but gotta say, the abuse that this thing's taken, and it's still going strong, hey, it's kind of a testament to their vehicles. I gotta say that. So as little as I was impressed by the Polaris slingshot they sent me that cost like 30-something grand, hey, I'm impressed with this thing. It's a good off-road, four-wheel drive ATV. When needed, it'll go over 50 miles an hour. The abuse this thing's taken, and it's still going this good? Hey, say something about these. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Well, you know how I warned you to stay away from dealerships? Well, get this. Here's a guy from Rhode Island sent me a horror story about a Toyota dealership. Toyota of Smithfield, Rhode Island. He says, Scotty, thanks for your videos. My daughter goes to college in Rhode Island. She didn't know anybody, so she went to a dealership next to her college. Here's the estimate. I bought this car for $10,900, and their list of repairs says $10,355. She's 22 years old, she's going to college, and they obviously saw a mark. He gets his car, he drives to Rhode Island, gives him her car, takes her car that he bought, the RAV4, took it to his mechanic, and he spent less than 1/10 of that to fix it. $1,000. And that was mainly because it needed tires, right? Most of that money was tires. They try to sell you the kitchen sink. Now, this happens everywhere. It isn't just Toyota dealers. But it shows two things. One, they got a big overhead, and they're going to take whatever they can out of you. But it also shows, too, they're stupid businessmen. They try to sell $10,000 of work to a car that they bought for $10,000 that wasn't in that bad shape, right? But you think they could have been a little more subtle about it. Maybe a little here, Lyndon, this needs to be done now, and then down the line you could... No, they just said, here's what you need, $10,300 worth of work. It makes your head spin. They just don't care. I guess they just tell everybody you need to pay 10 grand to fix your car and hope that a few suckers fall for it and pay the money. This guy was smart enough, took it back home to his home mechanic, who fixed it for 1/10, and most of that was tires. It's just absurd going to these places. One, like I say, they don't have any business sense, and two, they're not very honest people because they're just trying to sell whatever they can. The service advisors at these places generally get a percentage of the bill. So if they sell you a $10,000 repair bill, they get a percentage, and it makes themselves more money. Even if they're getting, say, 2%. So if the bill's only $100, they're not getting any money. They don't care, right? It's a dirty, rotten system. That's why you want to stay away from these places. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.